What do you want us to start with, Jeremy?
The first one.
All right. Well, fine. I will lead it, and I will just go from the top. Where does Jared Goff finish compared to the other quarterbacks this season using any metric? I'm assuming you mean like other quarterbacks in the NFL?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I'll start.
Okay.
I think Jared Goff will finish 14th in passer rating this year. Not going to be a top 10 quarterback. Going to have some interceptions that drag that number down a little bit, but he will be a top half of the league quarterback. I think the rankings that have him as like 27th, 28th are kind of ridiculous right now. 14th best quarterback by passer rating this year.
I think that Jared Goff will have the. I'm willing to say that he will be a top half of the league quarterback. So I'm going to say he's going to be top 16, and I'll go by the same metric. I'll go by quarterback rating. I know you said 14, but like I feel like there just has to be a little bit of wiggle room. Like I almost wanted to go out on a limb and say that Jared Goff would have the second best quarterback rating in the NFC North, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can take that away from Kirk Cousins, which seems really sad. And I promise we're not continuing the pessimism segment from last segment.
I kind of am. I want to say 18. I'm going just in bottom half. I'm not. Again, I worry about the pressure getting to him. I know he's not like QBR might be a little more generous to him because he'll be careful with the football, but I don't know. Just do sacks get counted in there, Jeremy?
For passer rating?
No, for QBR.
I don't know.
QBR is different from passer rating.
QBR has no formula to the public, so I have no idea.
Fair enough. Either way, like I think Kirk Cousins will be better. I want to give Kirk Cousins some credit here. I'm just not hopeful on Jared Goff. I'm not. But I'm not saying like complete abject failure. He's still in the teens, just lower than top half.
Fair.
For reference, I feel like we need to say last year Jared Goff was 17th.
That's actually kind of surprisingly high. And that's in passer rating or QBR?
That's in passer rating.
Now I almost want to bump myself up a little bit there because he should be better, right? Like he's going to be better.
I would hope. I think some other quarterbacks will be better, but I don't know. I'm holding on to my pessimism side from this. Let's move on very quickly to something else. DeAndre Swift over or under 1,300 total yards from scrimmage. For comparison, he had 1,069. Nice last year.
I set this one, so this is tough. He wants 1,000. I'm pretty certain he's not going to get that. Not going to get 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 passing yards. But I'm taking the over. I think it's not going to be much.
Look at you.
But I do kind of believe in the run game this year, and they're going to have more opportunities to run the ball because the games are going to be closer. They're going to be more competitive. They're going to be able to run a little bit in the second half where they didn't much at all last year. And I think he'll also be a weapon out of the backfield. I think there's enough distractions around him on the outside that the middle of the field is going to be open. So if they sneak him out there a little bit, he's a weapon, man. And they're talking up. I mean, we saw what Deuce Staley was saying about where he believes this guy's ceiling is. They think he is a legit weapon and one of the best running backs that Deuce Staley's ever coached. They're going to try to utilize him, and I think he's going to cross over that 1,300 threshold.
Just rushing yards. I don't know what DeAndre Swift is going to do, but 1,300 seems very reasonable for total yardage.
Yeah.
I really think it does. Like, I'm not even so much concerned with it because I still think he's going to be utilized a lot in the passing game.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be really interested to see the target share. Especially, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be crazy like it was a season ago, just because it felt like it was just desperation out of Jared Goff and an offense that was flailing. But I'll take the over on this too.
I kind of wanted. I'm going to take the over. I feel like there's not going to like they definitely wanted to use him more last year, and they had to get away from it just because there were so many holes in the games. I feel like Swift expanded role this year. And I like the scrimmage yards too. I think that he can still be a good pass catching running back in all this.
Stay healthy, Swift.
Yeah, the health is the big matter to it. All right, which wide receiver is going to lead the Lions in yards, and then separately, who's going to lead them in touchdowns?
I'm gonna make you go first, Ryan.
Oh, not me.
Chris, you want to go?
Sun God.
For both.
On both. Yes.
Oh, that was you just answering the question twice.
Yes.
I didn't know if that was some kind of like
Listen,
tribal chant or
it was, but it was also the answer twice. Listen, he might go over 100 receptions this year. I understand there's Shark and probably JMO are probably going to be better long threats. If JMO comes back, and JMO will be behind the 8 ball, he's going to miss a lot of games here. I'm going on volume when it comes to Amon-Ra St. Brown on his yardage, and I think he will be the go-to for the red zone. I think it'll be between him and Reynolds, who are the most comfortable that Jared Goff is with, and of the two, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown will see more usage. So I'm taking Sun God in both yards and touchdowns, and it's not my USC homerism showing either.
I want to know if I can bend this question. It has to be a wide receiver.
If you want to include Hawkinson in the touchdown conversation, I will allow it.
Yeah. I want Hawkinson to lead this team in touchdown receptions. I want to see him be the threat in the red zone. I want Ben Johnson to get creative with him. For yards, it's hard to go against Amon-Ra just because of, like Chris said, I think the volume. I mean, this is a guy who he still had 119 targets last year. I mean,
yeah.
He got an awful lot of passes thrown his way, but he only caught 90 of them. So maybe if him and Jared Goff are a little bit more on the same page, I mean, yeah, I can see him getting over 1,000 yards this season.
I think I'm with you in yardage, although part of me wants to be like, you guys you're all sleeping on Reynolds here. Josh Reynolds is going to be a bigger part of this offense than a lot of you guys think. But I can't get him. I can't put him over Amon-Ra. I just can't.
Sun God.
Then take him for touchdowns, coward.
Josh Reynolds leads the Lions in receiving touchdowns this year. Mark it down, clip it. There. Done. No one even mentioned poor DJ Shark, who could very well actually be the answer there.
I think he might be the answer in yards. I think
plays.
he might be the answer in yards. Yeah, big plays.
Serpent of death. That's right, chat.
That's right. TJ Hawkinson, since we just mentioned him, this is kind of a prop bet here, I guess. Well, they're all prop bets, but will TJ Hawkinson get a new contract?
It's a different question than should TJ Hawkinson get a new contract.
It is.
It very much so is.
I think TJ Hawkinson wants to play this season out. I think he wants to play this season out, and then he wants to have the chance to reset the market. I don't think right now Detroit wants to give him an offer that would make him I don't think they want to give him an offer that would make him a top 3 paid tight end. Because he hasn't really proven it.
He hasn't.
And I think TJ Hawkinson is going to bet on himself.
But the way contracts work also is sometimes you get paid to be a top 3 tight end, even though you aren't one, because that's just how the market works. You get paid if you're the next one, not necessarily the best one.
I don't know. Brad Holmes didn't take the bait on Kenny Galladay.
He didn't.
You know what I mean?
And he also didn't take the bait when he was asked whether he's going to negotiate in season. He punted on the question. So that makes this one kind of tough because we don't really have a precedent with him in terms of midseason extensions. Although I think we can extend this question to next offseason as well. And I don't know, man. I think he will. I think they will re-sign him. I think the Lions have proven that they want good players here, that they want homegrown talent. Hawkinson certainly seems a lot more happy here than he was in years past. He certainly seems like himself a little bit more than he was in years past. So I think they do re-sign him, but he might not get the deal that he's hoping for.
I don't think he'll get the deal here. I think he'll test that open market, and I don't know what the market really is for tight ends beyond here. Are there really that many teams that are like
But
I can't remember.
there aren't that many good tight ends. Like, I'm sure you just
Yeah.
found this out with your fantasy draft. There is a huge drop off after like 6 or 7, right?
No, there absolutely is. Like you're starting to get like a second tier with the guys like Dallas Goedert, but Zach Ertz is old. But I'm more asking. I'm trying to remember. I was less thinking about my fantasy thing as I was about what was the last big like free agent signing who was a tight end.
That is
Because maybe
they-
it was Zach Ertz. Maybe it was Zach Ertz. What was Zach Ertz traded? I forget. Either way, but Zach Ertz is old.
It was traded, but I think with tight ends, you're seeing a lot of them get franchise tagged because a lot of them are they're tight ends, but they're like glorified slot receivers.
Right.
Like
Yeah, guys like Waller and
Mike Gesicki from the Dolphins. I'm trying to think of David Njoku from the Browns. Like these guys are like glorified wide receivers that are gallivanting as tight ends. So I don't know. That's why they're getting franchise tagged, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than going out and getting a wide receiver on the open market.
That's true.
So
you change your answer to yes.
I'm gonna ask the question next. Who leads the Lions in sacks this season?
Y'all know my answer. I've been riding this train all off season. I think Charles Harris is in for a double-digit sack season. I'll reiterate the same talking points I've been saying all off season. This dude had 7.5 sacks last year, coming off the bench to start the season. Not to mention the fact that he saw more double teams than about 70-75% of edge defenders last year. Aiden Hutchinson is going to open up a world of opportunities for him, and I think we're talking like a 10, 12, 13 sack season for Charles Harris this year.
I want to go Charles Harris too. I think the big thing, and I know he's kind of the sub question here, Ryan, is that you mentioned the double teams, Jeremy. I think that Aiden Hutchinson is going to draw a lot of those double teams this year.
Yeah.
And I know that's not fair to put on a rookie to draw a bunch of double teams, but with how fast and explosive Hutch is off the line, I feel like teams will probably prioritize him and allow Charles Harris to go and clean up. Like that was always the thing with Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh maybe didn't have the greatest numbers and sacks every year, but that's because he was commanding all the double teams and letting the rest of the line, the edge basically clean up.
Aleem McNeil.
What? Shut up.
Wow.
No.
You are doing crazy things.
Wow. He'll have more opportunities at the 3-tech.
The only reason I'm saying this is because both of you, I didn't want to just keep on belaboring the point that I think Charles Harris is going to have he's going to stack another great season on top of one.
And the Spartan and you couldn't say Aiden Hutchinson?
Basically, yeah. Which led me to Aleem McNeil. I don't know. Why not? Let's have fun. Let's let our hair down. Let's get loose.
Bring the balls out.
If
out.
Aleem McNeil leads this team in sacks, something has either gone horribly right or horribly wrong.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. But if Aleem McNeil gets like 9 sacks, I think the Lions would still be in good hands.
Probably.
I'm having fun. Let's have fun. Next question.
I was going to say the sub question to that is how many sacks is Aiden Hutchinson getting?
I'm going to say 6.
8.5.
I'll take 7. I'll take the middle here. We got to go rapid fire on the rest of these. So who leads the team in tackles for losses? Probably take Hutch.
Rodrigo. Do it, Jeremy. Buy the hype.
To the podcast listeners, Ryan did his best salsaing, sitting down salsaing.
It was very bad.
It was a little cha-cha.
You know what? Rodrigo's getting all the attention. Derek Barnes.
He has made a few plays in the preseason.
He has. But I really do want to say Rodriguez.
Who leads the team in interceptions?
Screw it. Jeff Okudah.
I knew it. I like that.
I'm going to assume that Amani Oruwariye plays CB1. And I know the Lions mostly play sides than really designating a 1 and a 2. But that leaves Okudah maybe on a better matchup. And 4 interceptions for him this year.
I kind of think it's going to be Okudah because I think teams are going to want to throw his way. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna want to test him,
Sure.
and they're gonna want to see, and maybe they're gonna maybe a lot of teams are gonna test and they're gonna mess around and they're gonna find out, and that you don't want to do that. But since I know Jeremy would never ever predict Amani Oruwariye to lead the team in interceptions, I'm gonna say that he does it.
I mean,
All right.
it's going off what, 6 last year? 4 or 5? I don't know. Something.
Where-
I think it was 6.
Where will the defense rank in points allowed? They were 31st last year.
24th.
That was the number that I was thinking, but I'm gonna say there's a big Aaron Glenn bump, and I'm gonna say 21.
Okay, I'll take that.
I mean, jumping 10 spots would be huge for this team.
Sure.
Yes, it would be. Where will the Lions finish in the NFC North?
Second.
Really?
Yeah. Why not? Let's do it. I told you that Aleem McNeil's going to lead this team in sacks.
I can't fade the Vikings like that. I think Cousins will have a better year. I think they're going to end up third. But this is going into my record prediction a little bit too. But you know what? The important thing is, fuck the Bears.
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm third too. I'm sorry. I have to be on brand. I think the Vikings are better than people give them credit for.
I don't even like the fact they have a first-year head coach either. This is the year for them to do it and then flame out spectacularly if they make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they're gonna just like get slaughtered or like lose in some heartbreaking fashion in the
No.
first round.
It's going to be wide right. Calling it right now. You can mark the tape wide right.
Can we get them to have a double doink too? That'd be great.
No, just wide right, Jeremy. That's all I need is wide right. I'll even call the direction wide right, not wide left, not shanked, nothing, just wide right. See you in January. What will the Lions' record be in 2022?
Who dares go first on this one?
I'm not
I feel
going
like
first.
I feel like I've been the prophet of doom here. I'm going to say the Lions double their win total. That's very impressive.
So 7.
That's 6. Well,
6.5.
3.5 times 2 is 7.
Is that how math works?
yeah, 7 and 10.
Yeah, I got him to go up 1. Let's go.
I started thinking about the schedule again. It's 7 and 10. I know that's not good enough for the fans at home, but that would be a huge accomplishment for the Lions with this schedule, with the problems they still have on defense, with the fact that Jared Goff's still under center. 7 wins. This bleep takes time. This takes time. You're not going to turn it around in just 1 year. I'm sorry.
Dazzy disagrees.
He agrees.
He is mad about your 7 and 10 prediction. But here's the thing. My brain is telling me 7 and 10 as well.
That thing in your chest saying.
But this podcast is not just about my brain. Sometimes we let the emotions bleed through, and I'm going 8 and 9. It's not that much of an increase.
You know what I hate?
9.
You know what I hate is that I know his prediction is going to be completely different in the written.
It's going to be 7-10 in the written article on Friday. But I'm right here, right now, 8 and 9. I'm the one that said this team was going to win 4 games last year after they started 0 and 5, and I was damn near right. Sometimes you just got to go with your heart rather than your head. 8 and 9 almost makes the playoff.
Lions are going to have to go 9 and 8 in order to be second in the division. So 9 and 8.
Yeah, we got a winning record, baby.
We're all around 500. We're all around 500. We're all around 500.
I'll take
We've
We're
cornered
technically
the
all above-
Jeff Fisher market.
I was gonna say we all took basically the over. When I was thinking 6 and 11, I was gonna take the under, but
Everyone thought Jeff
6.5.
Fisher being the head coach of the Michigan Panthers was going to make them go 5 and 5. What really happened is he made the Detroit Lions play 500 football.
unbelievable.
Can we answer one question before we leave real quick?
Yes.
Based on where all of us are, right? If we're talking 7 and 10, if we're talking, 8 and 9, 9 and 8, are those records enough for the fan base? Is that enough to keep the momentum that's been built from year 1 to year 2 going into year 3?
It's hard to predict a fan base, right? And it's also going to depend on how does a 7-10 team look.
Well, if they start 6-1 and they end up 7-10,
right?
Yes,
then
right?
It's going to be a very, very different answer. But I think I threw up a question on Pride of Detroit today. It was just like, what's the minimum expectation? And my answer is 6 wins. If they don't get 6 wins, it's going to be a disappointing season. Anything above that to me is kind of gravy. So if they're 7-9 or 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, like that's all wins in my book. Like that's where this team should be. That shows to me that there's positive progress. But I can't tell you that that's how everyone is going to feel.
Well, hopefully we'll feel more positive than that very soon. They beat the Eagles. Kool-Aid's on, man.
I'll be chugging if they beat the Eagles.
Football's here. I'm ready for Thursday. And then Sunday thereafter. We made it, guys. I didn't think we'd do it. Before we end this podcast, again, a huge thank you to everyone who's been following us. For those who don't know, we hit over 1 million downloads before the season even began. We are going to dwarf our 2021 numbers. The unique listener audience is doubled. We have more big news on the way, and we're looking forward to another Movember with you to raise money for very important causes. And we're looking forward to Lions football. This means a lot to me, this podcast. For all 7 years, I've got to host this with Ryan, with Jeremy. It's effing fun. And we get to make this almost a job. This is a job at the end of the day on the side too, but it's an incredibly fun job.
Said it well. I don't know how to say it either. Like there's a lot of big news coming up on the horizon, and we owe all of it to you guys. So thank you all for sticking around through thick and thin, man. A lot of thin. Hopefully we get some thick this year. That sounded weird. Never mind.
Wow.
Can we leave now?
Ryan,
That's how it's ending. No.